It's time for the One Bar and Lupica Show, bringing you anything and everything Minnesota Vikings.
Welcome to professional football.
All right, before we get started, remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel, daily Vikings videos. All right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lupica Show. I am One Bar, and in today's episode, I am going to convince you why we should not take a wide receiver in round one this year. And that is not going to be an easy task because I'm pretty impartial when it comes to it. If we took a receiver in round one, I would not be upset. If we passed on a receiver in round one, I would not be upset. So, like I said, I'm going to play devil's advocate today. I'm going to give you 5 reasons, 5, why the Minnesota Vikings should look elsewhere when it comes to round one. So, number 5, unrealistic expectations. We've all seen day in or year in and year out, wide receivers get drafted in round one and they just lay big turds when they in the NFL. Expectations when you're a wide receiver drafted in round one are that you're going to come in, you are going to perform, you're going to put up big numbers. And yes, we have seen receivers do that, but we've seen a lot of the times where that does not happen. And fans get upset. Players, you can tell, get rattled. Their confidence gets shaken. And they're done. Wide receivers cannot come in and have their confidence rattled, or it is a disaster. We've seen it firsthand as Vikings fans. So with a team that is expecting a wide receiver to come in, step in as that number 2, maybe number 3 receiver right off the bat, we're giving him very, very tough expectations, especially as a round one receiver. Round one receivers have enough pressure as it is, but to come into the situation with the Vikings where we pretty much have Adam Thielen and then a couple number 3s, to get thrown in there is just icing on the cake for it to explode. So unrealistic expectations. When I think of the NFL draft in round one, aside from quarterback, receivers pretty much have the most pressure on them. They have to be mental tough, and they have to come in and be prepared. The fact that they're not going to come in and catch 8-9 balls a game is a lot different from the college game. A lot different speed. We all know the drill when it comes to these guys. So that is my number 5 reason. If we still had Diggs and we were looking at bringing in a first-round receiver, it would be much more appealing because he could come in, he could fight for that number 3, number 4 spot, and then maybe in a year or two, great, we got a new number 1 wide receiver. But after Diggs went bye-bye, it got too dicey for me. And I think with who's going to be on the board, it's putting a lot on this youngster to come in and expect to carry the load. So for that reason, I would be just fine passing. And what I didn't mention is also people are going to contribute this to Diggs. They're going to look at whoever's taken and say, oh, we gave up Diggs for this guy. That's not fair to this guy. Let's wait another round. Let's not have that. Just like Troy Williamson and Randy Moss. Took Troy Williamson, and everybody said, you know what, he better come and play, and he didn't. And you know what, he came and played if we took him in round 7. But anyways, expectations. Number 4, we're reaching. Even at pick 22 or 25, my guess is the top 3 will be gone: Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb, and Judy, and probably Justin Jefferson will be gone as well. So what we're looking at 22 would be Denzel Mims. And that's pretty much it. Yes, there's other guys like Brandon Ayuk that have been rumored to maybe sneak in around 1, but for what we need, reaching, and number 5 or the 5th one I already said, expectations. You cannot reach for a wide receiver in this draft class. You need to play it safe. You need to take the best player available. And at 22, wide receiver is probably not going to be that guy. A guy like Denzel Mims does offer potential, and when all is said and done, he very well could have been worth that number 22 pick, but he's not a guy that can come in and step in and just play right away. He's going to take some time. So I would say that is officially reaching. So we cannot afford to reach for a wide receiver. If somebody falls in our lap, some weird-ass reason that Henry Ruggs is still on the board, that would not be a reach. But if those top 4 are gone, you're reaching. No matter how much you love Mims, no matter how many highlights you've watched of him, how much you want a wide receiver, you have to come to grips that you would be reaching. There would be better players along the offensive line, cornerbacks, even some defensive linemen that would be much more worth that pick. And that's tough for me to say because I do like Mims. All right, number 3. The Vikings just don't appear to be very good at drafting first-round wide receivers. Even before Spielman. I mean, yes, we've had some dandies. We've had Randy Moss. That was great. That was like 30 years ago. All right, maybe not 30. But we're just not very good at it. Laquan Treadwell, 2016. Bad news. Cordero Patterson, 2013. Great kick returner, not a good receiver. Gadget guy, yes. He's still in the league. He's still making plays, but was he worth that first-round pick? I mean, if my memory is right, I think Keenan Allen was taken about 2 rounds later. That would have been a much better pick. So Percy Harvin in 2009, we nailed that one. I'll give us that. And we ended up getting like 3 first-round picks for the Seahawks when we traded them. But we're just not very good at drafting. Maybe we're jinxed. Maybe this is our jinx. But that's really it. We're just not good at it. Number 2, we have more pressing needs in wide receiver, which is a bold statement when you look at our depth chart at wide receiver, because we have Adam Thielen, we have BC Johnson, we have Tajay Sharp. After that, we have nothing. So to say we have more pressing needs really means that we have more pressing needs. Cornerback, we need a cornerback, offensive line, even defensive line. They are more pressing needs at this point than wide receiver. We could make do with what we have at receiver and still put up some points. We still got Dalvin Cook. Adam Thielen's going to put up some yards, and even Tajay Sharp and BC, they're going to be all right. So when it comes to round one needs, we have more pressing needs, and nobody can argue that. Number 1, the final reason why the Minnesota Vikings should pass on a round 1 wide receiver is just the value. When you look at this draft class, wide receiver is thick. It is so damn thick of studs that are going to be there in round 2 and round 3. Any other draft class, these guys are gonzo. Look at last year's draft. Marquise Brown was the only wide receiver taken in round 1. If all these guys were in this draft class, Marquise Brown would probably be like a round 3 wide receiver, and he was pretty damn good. So when we get into round 2, looking at guys like Michael Pittman, Brandon Ayuk, Rager, there is going to be value there that is never there in other draft classes. So waiting till round 2 is perfect case. It squashes every one of these ones I listed. Pressure goes way, way down. Reaching, we're not going to be reaching. We're going to be getting great value. And whether we're good at it or not, who cares? It's not round 1. And pressing needs, we would have already squashed probably cornerback and offensive line possibly as well. So pressing needs, this will be our need. So waiting till round 2, round 3, even round 4, I expect us to be double dipping. Tyler Johnson, everybody wants Tyler Johnson. If you're in Minnesota, he's going to be around late round 3, round 4 guy. There is going to be plenty of time to get wide receivers because they're going to be there. As long as we get 1 or 2 receivers by round 5, we're going to be sitting just fine. So that wraps up our wide receiver. That is the reason why we should not draft wide receiver. I'm still not fully convinced, but I'm feeling a little bit better about it. Round 2, there's going to be some gems.